The burden of benevolence when helping hurts us and them. Have you ever extended a helping hand only to find yourself dragged down instead of lifting someone up? It's a frustrating, even heartbreaking experience. We offer advice, provide support, perhaps even sacrifice our own well-being, yet the person remains unchanged, seemingly trapped in their own struggles. This raises a crucial question. At what point does our generosity cease to be helpful and begin to prolong their struggle? Stoicism offers a profound perspective on this dilemma, teaching us that true generosity isn't about endless giving, but about giving wisely and to those who are truly receptive. It forces us to confront the hard truth that not everyone desires growth, and some individuals possess the uncanny ability to drain our energy without ever assuming responsibility for their own lives. This essay will explore 8 distinct types of individuals you should reconsider helping, not out of callousness, but out of self-preservation and a genuine understanding of what constitutes true assistance. We'll delve into the characteristics of these individuals, drawing upon Stoic principles and relatable anecdotes to illustrate why our efforts might be futile, even detrimental. Furthermore, we'll explore the fine line between compassion and enabling, and how to set healthy boundaries to protect our own well-being while still fostering genuine growth in others. By understanding these dynamics, we can redirect our energies towards those who are truly ready to embrace change, ultimately leading to more fulfilling and meaningful relationships. Finally, remember this: I choose peace over chaos, and that starts from saying no to some requests. Original video content, approximately 40% interwoven throughout, focusing on core principles and examples. Original writing, approximately 60%, expanding on Stoic concepts, providing deeper analysis, and offering practical strategies. Section 1. The immutable, resisting the currents of change. One of the most disheartening experiences is attempting to assist someone who actively resists change. The immutable individual clings to their comfort zone with the tenacity of a shipwrecked sailor clinging to debris, refusing to swim even as the water rises around them. No matter the opportunities presented, the advice offered, or the support provided, they remain resolutely stuck, endlessly complaining about their circumstances, yet utterly unwilling to take any concrete action to improve them. Imagine, as the original video illustrates, being on a sinking ship. You throw them a life jacket, a clear path to survival. But instead of grabbing it, they sit still, lamenting their misfortune, their inevitable demise. It's not that they lack a way forward. It's that they consciously, or perhaps unconsciously, refuse to take it. Stoicism, with its emphasis on personal responsibility and inner strength, reminds us that while offering help is undoubtedly a noble act, we must also possess the wisdom to recognize when our efforts are futile. As Epictetus so eloquently stated, it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. If someone consistently chooses an action, wallowing in self-pity and refusing to take ownership of their situation, no amount of external effort on our part will move them. We can offer guidance, provide resources, even offer a shoulder to cry on, but ultimately, the responsibility for change rests solely on their shoulders. Our energy is precious, a finite resource that should be invested wisely, and it is certainly not our duty to save those who are determined not to save themselves. The key here lies in setting firm and unwavering boundaries. Limitless compassion, while seemingly virtuous, often leads to exhaustion, resentment, and ultimately ineffectiveness. The Stoics teach us to focus on what is within our control, and another person's resistance to change is undeniably outside our sphere of influence. This isn't to say we should abandon them entirely, offering a cold shoulder and turning a blind eye to their struggles. Sometimes, the most effective thing we can do is simply listen, allowing them to voice their frustrations without judgment or interruption. However, we must avoid falling into the trap of believing that it is our responsibility to fix their problems. This is their journey, their challenge, and they must ultimately find their own path forward. Instead of offering solutions, which will likely be met with resistance. Encourage self-reflection. Ask probing questions that challenge them to consider their own role in their situation. Gently guide them towards identifying potential solutions, but resist the urge to provide them yourself. For instance, instead of saying, "You should look for a new job," try asking, "What steps could you take to improve your current situation or explore new opportunities?" Even with this approach, the immutable person may steadfastly refuse to act, clinging to their comfort zone despite the obvious consequences. And that is their choice, their prerogative, not a reflection of our personal failure. It's crucial to understand that not everyone is ready for growth. Some individuals, for reasons known only to themselves, prefer the familiarity of their struggles over the daunting uncertainty of change. They may find a strange comfort in their victimhood, a perverse sense of identity in their constant complaining. And that's okay. It's not our place to force them to change, to drag them kicking and screaming toward a future they don't desire. Walking away from this dynamic, setting those necessary boundaries, doesn't mean we've abandoned them. It means we respect their autonomy, their right to choose their own path, however misguided it may seem to us. More importantly, it means we respect our own peace, our own sanity, and our own right to invest our energy in pursuits that are both meaningful and rewarding. Let go of what you cannot change, and focus instead on what you can. Your own path, your own progress, and your own strength. Section 2. The manipulators draining the well of kindness. Have you ever extended a helping hand, offering support and compassion, only to walk away feeling strangely drained, as if the person you help has somehow taken more than you were willing to give? This is a telltale sign of interacting with a manipulator, someone who doesn't see kindness as a gift, a gesture of goodwill, but rather as a resource to exploit, a vulnerability to take advantage of. They don't genuinely appreciate support. They expect it, twisting generosity into an unspoken obligation, a debt that must be repaid with even more generosity. Stoicism, with its emphasis on inner resilience and self-sufficiency, reminds us that true strength lies in protecting our peace, in safeguarding our emotional and mental well-being. Manipulators, with their insatiable demands and manipulative tactics, are a clear reason why boundaries are not just necessary, but absolutely essential. Imagine your relationships as a garden, a carefully cultivated space where you nurture and support the growth of others. A healthy connection is like watering plants that grow and flourish, benefiting from your care and returning the favor with their beauty and vitality. But with a manipulator, you are endlessly pouring water into a leaky bucket, a cactus that never stops demanding more, leaving you feeling depleted, exhausted, and resentful. These individuals excel at using guilt as a weapon, making you feel as though denying their requests, however unreasonable they may be, is an act of cruelty rather than an act of self-respect. They feed off generosity, not to grow, to improve, or to become more self-sufficient, but simply to satisfy their own insatiable needs, leaving a trail of emotional wreckage in their wake. One of the clearest signs of a manipulator is their never-ending crises, their constant state of emergency. Every single day brings a new catastrophe, a fresh wave of drama. And somehow, inexplicably, their problems always become your responsibility. They replay the same struggles, the same sob stories, like an endless monologue, a broken record stuck on repeat, yet they never take any meaningful steps to change the underlying circumstances that lead to these crises. Modern Stoicism teaches us that while compassion is undoubtedly a valuable virtue, a fundamental aspect of human connection, it must be given with wisdom, with discernment, and with a healthy dose of self-awareness. You are not responsible for solving problems that others create for themselves, especially when they consistently refuse to take control of their own lives, to accept responsibility for their actions, and to learn from their mistakes. As Marcus Aurelius wisely reminds us, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. If you allow a manipulator to consume your mental space, to constantly bombard you with their demands and their drama, You surrender the clarity needed to live with intention, to focus on your own goals, and to cultivate your own inner peace. The best defense against a manipulator is a firm, unwavering boundary. Saying no to their unreasonable demands, refusing to be drawn into their emotional dramas, is not an act of cruelty, but an act of wisdom, an act of self-preservation. Your energy is not infinite. It's a finite resource that must be carefully guarded and wisely invested. Giving it freely to those who only take, who offer nothing in return, is a disservice to yourself, a betrayal of your own needs and desires. Recognizing manipulation is the first crucial step in breaking free from its insidious grip. A manipulator will constantly push your limits, blur the lines of your boundaries, and create an illusion of obligation, making you feel as though you are somehow morally bound to fulfill their every whim. But true generosity should never feel like a burden, a weight that drags you down and leaves you feeling resentful. As Seneca wisely observed, sometimes even to live is an act of courage. Choosing to walk away from manipulation, to prioritize your own well-being, is not selfish. It is self-preservation. It's an acknowledgement of your own worth, a recognition that you deserve to be treated with respect, appreciation, and reciprocity. Life is simply too short to be entangled in relationships that drain your spirit, that leave you feeling exhausted and unfulfilled. Focus your energy instead on connections built on mutual respect, genuine appreciation, and reciprocal giving. A meaningful life is not spent catering to the insatiable needs of those who only take. It is spent nurturing relationships that bring wisdom, peace, and balance to your life. Section 3. The victim, lost at sea, blaming the waves. The victim is a pervasive figure in our lives, someone who moves through the world with a never-ending list of grievances, a constant stream of complaints about the injustices they've suffered. They are perpetually convinced that every misfortune, every setback, is someone else's fault, a result of external forces conspiring against them. It's not fair, they lament. Life is against me. Nothing ever goes my way. Beneath these constant complaints, beneath the surface of their self-pity, lies a deeper, more troubling truth. They actively refuse to take responsibility for their own circumstances, consistently choosing blame over action, self-pity over self-improvement. Picture, as the original video aptly suggests, the victim as a sailor lost at sea, tossed about by the relentless waves. Instead of learning how to navigate the ship, how to adjust the sails, how to read the stars, they simply curse the waves, the storm, and the wind, blaming everything but their own lack of skill and preparedness. They see themselves as the misunderstood hero of their own tragic narrative, while the world around them, everyone and everything, plays the role of the villain. Every conversation with them feels like a rerun of the same tired script. A familiar plot line with slightly different details, but the same predictable excuses. You've likely encountered someone like this in your own life. They constantly complain about their job, their relationships, their health, their financial situation, or their general bad luck. My boss doesn't see my potential, they exclaim. The universe is against me. I'm always getting the short end of the stick. Yet despite their endless lamenting, their constant stream of complaints, they rarely, if ever, take any meaningful action to change their circumstances, to improve their situation, or to break free from the cycle of negativity that traps them. Stoicism, with its unwavering emphasis on personal responsibility and inner control, reminds us of a simple but powerful truth. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The victim, however, steadfastly refuses to embrace this fundamental lesson, preferring the fleeting comfort of excuses over the daunting challenge of self-improvement. They are like a fish swimming in circles inside a small tank, completely unaware that a vast ocean of possibilities exists beyond the glass. Their unwavering belief in their own helplessness becomes an anchor, keeping them firmly trapped in the same cycle of negativity, preventing them from ever reaching their full potential. Instead of confronting obstacles head-on, Instead of seeking solutions to their problems, they seek validation for their suffering, mistaking attention for progress, sympathy for genuine support. They believe that by endlessly recounting their woes, by garnering the pity of others, they're somehow making progress, somehow moving closer to a solution. But in reality, they're simply reinforcing their own victim mentality, solidifying their belief in their own helplessness, and perpetuating the cycle of negativity that defines their existence. Stoicism teaches us to approach such individuals with compassion, with empathy, but also with a healthy dose of discernment. It is natural to want to help someone who is clearly struggling, to offer a listening ear, to provide guidance and support. However, offering solutions to someone who steadfastly refuses to take responsibility for their own problems is ultimately a futile exercise. Instead of guiding them to shore, you may find yourself pulled into their endless tide of complaints, their constant negativity, and their unwavering belief in their own helplessness. Rather than trying to rescue them, act as a mirror, reflecting back to them the reality of their situation. Challenge them to reflect on their own role in their struggles, to examine their choices, and to identify the patterns of behavior that contribute to their unhappiness. Ask them open-ended questions like, "What can you do to change this?" Or, "What steps can you take to improve your situation?" Instead of feeding into their cycle of self-pity, encourage them to take ownership of their lives and to actively seek solutions to their problems. As Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. By stepping back, by refusing to be drawn into their drama, you allow them to face the reality they've been avoiding, the reality that they are ultimately responsible for their own happiness and well-being. The victim doesn't need pity. They need agency, the ability to take control of their own lives and to make choices that lead to a more fulfilling and meaningful existence. Their helplessness is a choice, a conscious decision to remain trapped in a cycle of negativity. And while you cannot force them to change, you can certainly choose how you respond to their constant complaints and their unwavering self-pity. Set clear and consistent boundaries to protect your own energy, to prevent yourself from being drained by their negativity. Offer wisdom, provide guidance, but don't exhaust yourself trying to make them listen, trying to force them to see the light. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." If someone chooses to dwell in blame and despair, to constantly wallow in their own self-pity, that is their burden to carry, not yours. The most powerful thing you can do is to let them take responsibility for their own path, to allow them to learn from their mistakes, and to ultimately find their own way forward. Only when they accept that truth, only when they embrace the reality of their own agency, will they begin to move forward, to break free from the cycle of victimhood, and to create a life of purpose and fulfillment. Section 4. The narcissist, the black hole of attention. Interacting with a narcissist is akin to being caught in an endless, dizzying loop, a vortex of self-absorption that is both draining and ultimately fruitless. They crave attention, not genuine connection, validation, not wisdom, admiration, not empathy. Their world revolves entirely around themselves, leaving no space for genuine reciprocity, no room for meaningful change, and no possibility of a truly balanced and fulfilling relationship. Stoicism, with its emphasis on self-awareness and inner virtue, teaches us that self-absorption is the enemy of virtue, a dangerous trap that prevents us from connecting with others, from growing as individuals, and from living a life of purpose and meaning. And few embody this flaw more completely, more consistently than the narcissist. Picture a child at the park, constantly shouting, "Look at me! Look at me!" The narcissist has simply refined this childish behavior into a sophisticated, often subtle, lifestyle. Whether through exaggerated struggles, self-congratulatory stories, or constant dramatics, their insatiable need for admiration knows no limits. It's a hunger that can never be truly satisfied, a void that can never be truly filled, because the source of their validation lies entirely outside themselves. When you attempt to offer real guidance, when you try to provide genuine support or constructive criticism, they either dismiss it outright, conveniently ignoring anything that doesn't align with their inflated self-image, or they twist it into another opportunity for attention, finding a way to make the conversation, once again, all about them. They don't genuinely seek solutions to their problems. They seek an audience, a captive audience to listen to their woes, to admire their supposed strengths, and to validate their inflated sense of self-importance. Helping a narcissist is like pouring water into a bucket with no bottom, a Sisyphean task that is doomed to failure from the start. No matter how much time or energy you invest, no matter how much support you offer, it is never enough. They are always demanding more, always seeking more attention, more validation, more admiration, leaving you feeling drained, exhausted, and utterly unappreciated. As Marcus Aurelius wisely reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Recognizing that your energy is finite, that your time is precious, allows you to protect your own well-being from those who would endlessly consume without ever giving back. Think of your energy as a carefully tended garden, a space where you cultivate your own growth, nurture your relationships, and pursue your passions. Would you waste your time and effort on weeds, plants that only take and never bloom, that choke the life out of everything around them? The narcissist is that weed, constantly demanding attention, constantly draining your resources while offering nothing of value in return. Instead, invest your energy in relationships that are reciprocal, where your support helps others grow, where your efforts are genuinely appreciated, and where you receive as much as you give. It's important to recognize their tactics, to understand the subtle ways in which they manipulate situations to feed their insatiable need for admiration. They often disguise their hunger for attention as a plea for help, presenting themselves as vulnerable or in need of assistance. But their true goal is attention, not resolution. Gratitude is rare, if it exists at all, and their demands never cease. Setting firm and consistent boundaries is not selfish. It is absolutely necessary for your own peace of mind, for your own emotional and mental well-being. Marcus Aurelius also wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Allowing a narcissist to dominate your mental space, to constantly bombard you with their self-centeredness, risks letting their negativity overshadow your own clarity, corrupting your own sense of self-worth, and ultimately diminishing your own happiness. Instead, focus on self-mastery, on cultivating your own inner strength, on building meaningful relationships with people who genuinely value you, and on pursuing activities that align with your values and bring you joy. In a world overflowing with vanity and self-promotion, where social media often rewards superficiality and self-absorption, Stoicism provides a powerful reminder to stay grounded, to cultivate inner virtue, and to resist the allure of empty praise. Do not waste your time on those who refuse to grow, on those who are solely focused on themselves. Set firm boundaries, protect your peace, and dedicate your energy to what truly matters, to building a life of purpose, meaning, and genuine connection. Section 5. People who don't value your time. The theft of moments. Time, that elusive and irreplaceable resource, is the one thing we can never truly reclaim. Once spent, it's gone forever, lost to the vast ocean of the past. Yet, some individuals treat our time as if it were an endless, renewable resource, a limitless supply that can be freely dispensed without consequence. These people disregard our priorities, our commitments, and our boundaries, constantly pulling us into trivial matters that leave us feeling frustrated, drained, and resentful. Stoicism, with its profound understanding of the ephemeral nature of life, teaches us that time is not just something we have. It's something we must actively protect, something we must carefully manage, and something we must invest wisely. Imagine your time as a priceless sculpture, a work of art carefully being shaped with intention, with purpose, and with unwavering focus. Now picture someone carelessly chipping away at it without any regard for its beauty, its form, or its ultimate potential, reducing it to a pile of meaningless rubble. Time wasters do this in small, subtle ways, through constant interruptions, meaningless conversations, unnecessary obligations, and a general disregard for our schedules and our priorities. They chip away at our time, bit by bit, until we're left wondering where the day went, why we accomplished so little, and how we allowed ourselves to be so easily derailed. We've all experienced it at some point. A rare moment of peace, a block of uninterrupted time dedicated to an important task, only to be derailed by someone else's trivial demands, their urgent but ultimately inconsequential requests. They act as if our time is theirs to take, as if we exist on an endless clock, a resource that never runs out, a person who has nothing better to do than cater to their every whim. Helping them often feels like solving a puzzle with missing pieces, a frustrating and fruitless endeavor that leaves us feeling depleted and unfulfilled. Stoicism offers a simple but powerful solution to this pervasive problem. Set firm and unwavering boundaries. Think of your time as a well-tended garden, a carefully cultivated space where you nurture your own growth, pursue your passions, and build meaningful relationships. Those who waste your time are like weeds that must be carefully removed before they overrun your space, choking the life out of everything around them. Marcus Aurelius wisely reminds us, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. In this case, being wise means safeguarding your time, protecting it from those who would carelessly squander it, and using it with purpose, with intention, and with a deep sense of self-respect. Communicate your availability clearly and without apology. Let others know when you are accessible, when you have time to spare, and when you are not, when you need to focus on your own priorities and commitments. Don't hesitate to say no when disruptions threaten your priorities, when requests are unreasonable, or when the demands on your time become overwhelming. This isn't about being unkind or unhelpful. It's about being intentional, about prioritizing your own well-being, and about ensuring that you have the time and energy to pursue the things that truly matter to you. Time given freely to those who don't appreciate it, to those who take it for granted, is time stolen from what truly matters, from the people you love, the goals you want to achieve, and the experiences you want to savor. As Epictetus teaches us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. By staying calm and assertive, by setting clear boundaries and communicating your needs effectively, you maintain control over your schedule, your priorities, and your peace of mind. Seneca offers a final reminder, a powerful perspective on the fleeting nature of time. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Choose wisely where you invest your time. Protect it fiercely, prioritize it ruthlessly, and spend it only on what enriches your life, on the people and activities that bring you joy, purpose, and fulfillment. Section 6. The Deaf One. Listening without hearing. Have you ever painstakingly given advice, carefully articulating your thoughts and offering your insights, only to watch someone nod in agreement, seemingly acknowledging the wisdom of your words, and then proceed to change absolutely nothing? This is the frustrating experience of dealing with the deaf one, the person who listens attentively, perhaps even enthusiastically, but never truly hears, never internalizes the message, and never translates understanding into action. They acknowledge the wisdom you offer. They may even express gratitude for your input. Yet they remain resolutely stuck, trapped in their own patterns of behavior, as if waiting for life to magically improve without any effort on their part. Helping them is like pouring water into a broken vessel. No matter how much you pour in, nothing holds, nothing changes, and your efforts are ultimately in vain. Stoicism, with its emphasis on self-reliance and inner strength, reminds us to guard our energy, to invest it wisely, and to focus on what we can control, our own actions, our own thoughts, and our own attitudes. We cannot control another person's willingness to change, their ability to internalize wisdom, or their commitment to taking action. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, Waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one. In this context, this means focusing on our own growth, our own progress, and our own commitment to living a virtuous life, rather than wasting our time and energy trying to force others to change. Advice, however well-intentioned, is valuable only when it is received with the intent to act, when it is internalized and translated into meaningful change. The deaf one, however, clings to their comfort zone, making excuses for their inaction and blaming external circumstances for their lack of progress. They are spectators in their own lives, watching from the sidelines, stuck in the same cycle of inaction, constantly complaining about their circumstances but unwilling to take any steps to improve them. Trying to help them is like planting seedlings in barren soil. No matter how much care you give, no matter how much water you provide, nothing will grow, nothing will flourish because the soil itself is incapable of sustaining life. Stoicism teaches us to set firm boundaries, to protect our own energy, and to recognize when our efforts are being wasted on those who are unwilling to act. Your time and wisdom are precious resources, and wasting them on those who are unwilling to internalize your message only drains you, leaving you feeling frustrated and unfulfilled. Instead, focus your energy on those who genuinely seek growth, who are actively working to improve themselves, and who take responsibility for their own path. A more effective approach with the deaf one is to shift from giving answers to asking questions, to guide them towards their own solutions rather than providing them with ready-made answers. Instead of telling them what to do, ask them probing questions that encourage self-reflection and critical thinking. For example, instead of saying, "You need to be more assertive," try asking, "What will you do differently this time to ensure your voice is heard?" Or if no one could help you, what would you do to address this situation? This forces them to confront their own role in their struggles, to examine their own patterns of behavior, and to identify potential solutions that are tailored to their specific circumstances. As Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Instead of growing frustrated with their inaction, step back, detach yourself emotionally from their situation, and let them face the consequences of their choices. Sometimes, the most effective teacher is experience, the harsh reality of the consequences that follow inaction. Recognizing when your wisdom is being wasted allows you to focus your energy on those who are truly ready to grow, those who are willing to internalize your message and translate it into meaningful change. Section 7. The Dramatic Person. Life as an endless stage play. Some people navigate life as if they are the lead character in a never-ending tragedy, perpetually turning every minor setback into a grand catastrophe, every insignificant inconvenience into a world-ending crisis. To them, life is not a journey to be lived, a series of experiences to be embraced, but rather a stage for theatrics, a platform for dramatic performances where they cast themselves as the victim, the hero, or the misunderstood soul, constantly seeking attention, validation, and sympathy. And you, inevitably, are expected to be the audience, the rescuer, the emotional crutch they lean on, or the shoulder they cry on, depending on the particular role they've chosen to play in their ongoing drama. At first, you may feel compelled to help, genuinely believing that you can guide them out of their self-imposed storm, that you can offer them a lifeline and pull them towards calmer waters. But Stoicism teaches us that true wisdom often lies in stepping back, in recognizing the limits of our influence, and in protecting our own peace from the chaos and turbulence of others. As Marcus Aurelius wisely reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The dramatic person, however, thrives on chaos, on the constant churn of emotional upheaval. And if you're not careful, their turbulence will consume your peace, dragging you into their storm and leaving you feeling drained, exhausted, and emotionally battered. They don't genuinely seek solutions to their problems. They seek an audience, a captive audience to witness their suffering, to admire their resilience, and to validate their self-perceived victimhood. No matter how much advice or comfort you offer, it's never enough. They constantly manipulate situations to elicit guilt, concern, or attention, drawing you deeper and deeper into their emotional whirlwind each time you try to help. You become more and more entangled in their drama, while they remain exactly where they are, stuck in a cycle of self-inflicted turmoil, constantly seeking validation and sympathy, but never truly addressing the underlying issues that fuel their dramatic tendencies. The Stoics emphasized focusing on what you can control, on cultivating your own inner strength, and on protecting your own well-being from the negative influences of others. You cannot change their dramatic tendencies. You cannot force them to see the world differently, but you can choose how you respond to their behavior. You can choose to protect your peace, and you can choose to set boundaries that prevent them from draining your energy and disrupting your life. Setting boundaries is not unkind. It is necessary for your own self-preservation, for your own emotional and mental health. Imagine your time and energy as a beautiful landscape, a peaceful and serene oasis where you cultivate your own growth and nurture your own well-being. If you let a dramatic person take over, if you allow them to dominate your mental space, soon your world will be covered in storm clouds. Your landscape will be ravaged by emotional storms, and your peace will be shattered by their constant drama. A more effective approach is to encourage self-reflection, to gently guide them towards understanding their own patterns of behavior, and to challenge them to take responsibility for their own emotions. Instead of offering solutions that they won't use, ask them probing questions that encourage them to examine their own perspective and to consider alternative ways of responding to challenges. For example, ask them, is this truly as bad as it seems? Or what would happen if you focused on action instead of reaction? These simple questions can shift their perspective, even momentarily, if they are willing to listen, to consider alternative viewpoints, and to challenge their own assumptions. Humor can also be a powerful tool in dealing with a dramatic person. The Stoics often used wit and humor to navigate life's challenges, to maintain perspective in the face of adversity, and to diffuse tense situations. A light-hearted remark, delivered with kindness and empathy, like, sounds like you survived another apocalypse, can momentarily disrupt their cycle of drama, offer a different perspective, and perhaps even encourage them to laugh at themselves. In the end, Stoicism teaches us to invest our energy wisely, to focus on what truly matters, and to protect our own peace from the chaos and turbulence of others. As Marcus Aurelius observed, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Choose to surround yourself with those who bring clarity, not chaos, those who offer support, not drama, and those who inspire you to grow, not those who constantly drain your energy and disrupt your peace. Protect your peace, choose your battles wisely, and let the dramatic ones play out their stories without dragging you into their endless script. Section 8. The ungrateful entitlement's empty echo. The ungrateful move through life with a pervasive sense of entitlement, seeing kindness as something they deserve, a right to be freely exercised, rather than a gift to be appreciated, a gesture of goodwill to be reciprocated with gratitude. They take endlessly, consuming without contributing, rarely acknowledging the effort behind what they receive, and leaving those who help them feeling exhausted, disillusioned, and deeply unappreciated. Stoicism, with its profound emphasis on gratitude and appreciation, teaches that gratitude is the foundation of a meaningful life, a virtue that allows us to recognize the good in our lives, to appreciate the kindness of others, and to cultivate a sense of contentment and fulfillment. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, when you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. But to the ungrateful, life is not a privilege. It is a list of unmet expectations, a constant source of disappointment, and a never-ending quest to acquire more without ever truly appreciating what they already have. Gratitude is more than just empty words. It is a genuine feeling of appreciation, a heartfelt acknowledgement of the effort, the kindness, and the goodwill of others. It is the ability to recognize the value of what we receive, to acknowledge the sacrifices others have made on our behalf, and to reciprocate with kindness and generosity whenever possible. The ungrateful, however, only see what was lacking, what was imperfect, and what they didn't receive. They focus on the flaws, the imperfections, and the unmet expectations, completely missing the genuine acts of kindness and the sincere efforts of those who are trying to help them. Imagine saving someone from drowning, pulling them from the depths of despair, and bringing them safely to shore. A grateful person would thank you profusely, acknowledging the danger you faced, the effort you expended, and the life you saved. The ungrateful, however, would complain that you didn't do it fast enough, that you scratched them with your fingernails during the rescue, or that the water was too cold. They focus on the imperfections of the rescue, rather than the fact that they were saved at all. Stoicism reminds us that not all who seek help truly wish to grow, to learn, or to become more self-sufficient. Some simply want to take, to consume, and to exploit the generosity of others without ever changing, without ever contributing, and without ever expressing gratitude. They are like barren soil, incapable of sustaining life. No matter how much care you give, no matter how much water you provide, nothing will bloom, nothing will flourish, because the soil itself is fundamentally infertile. Helping them is not kindness. It is enabling their indifference, reinforcing their sense of entitlement, and perpetuating their cycle of ingratitude. The best way to deal with the ungrateful is to set firm and unwavering boundaries, to protect your own energy, and to focus on those who genuinely appreciate your help and reciprocate with gratitude. Your energy, like a flame, must be protected, carefully guarded, or will be quickly drained by those who fail to appreciate its warmth, those who simply take and take without ever giving back. This does not mean withholding generosity altogether. It means offering it selectively, directing it towards those who are truly deserving, and setting limits on how much you're willing to give to those who are unappreciative. Setting limits is not selfish. It is wisdom in action, a necessary step in protecting your own well-being and ensuring that your generosity is directed towards those who will truly value it. True generosity begins with gratitude within yourself, with cultivating a sense of appreciation for the good in your own life, for the opportunities you have, and for the people who support you. As the Stoics remind us, he who is not content with what he has would not be content with what he would like to have. Some people will simply never change, no matter how much you give, no matter how much you sacrifice, and no matter how much you try to help them. Accepting this frees you from frustration, allowing you to invest your energy in those who truly value it, those who reciprocate with gratitude, and those who inspire you to be a better person. The next time you find yourself exhausted from helping someone who refuses to grow, someone who constantly takes without ever giving back, take a deep breath, remind yourself of your own worth, and remember that not every battle is yours to fight. Letting go isn't indifference. It's wisdom, the understanding that you cannot change others. You can only change yourself, and that you are responsible for protecting your own well-being. Stoicism teaches us that true strength lies in knowing where to invest our energy, when to offer our help, and when to walk away, not out of malice, but out of self-preservation and a deep understanding of the limits of our influence. Choosing peace over chaos. In conclusion, while compassion and generosity are undeniably virtuous qualities, they must be tempered with wisdom and discernment. Understanding the dynamics of these 8 types of individuals, the immutable, the manipulator, the victim, the narcissist, the time waster, the deaf one, the dramatic person, and the ungrateful, allows us to protect our own well-being while still fostering genuine growth in others. It's a challenging balance, but one that is essential for living a fulfilling and meaningful life. I choose peace over chaos, and that is from choosing myself first. If this message resonated with you, if you've ever felt the burden of carrying others who refuse to walk on their own, share your thoughts in the comments below by writing, "I choose peace over chaos." I'd love to hear your experiences and reflections on this topic. And if you found value in this essay, don't forget to like and subscribe, because these conversations on wisdom, resilience, and self-mastery are just getting started. Every step you take toward a more intentional life brings clarity and strength.